So my story with anxiety is pretty simple, actually. Like, I lived a normal childhood. I grew up. I had a good family. I did well in sports. I did well in school. But when I reflect on my childhood, the whole time I felt like a sense of worry. I felt this underlying sense of panic and complete discomfort almost all the time. But when I was younger, I never knew that that was any different than anybody else. I just assumed that that's how every kid felt. I did okay in university, but I did have times where I struggled with the amount of stress involved. And when I graduated from university, I was hired to open up my own restaurant. And at 26, I graduated university. I kind of took on real life all at once. And my stress started to grow and grow. And I didn't have any healthy outlets. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. And it just hit this tipping point where my cup was full and I just couldn't function anymore. So I was vomiting every day because of the stress that I would have overnight. I was not sleeping, not eating, and at one point I couldn't even carry on a conversation because my anxiety was so bad. And at this point I fully knew that something wasn't right. So I went to my sister and I said, hey, look, like, something's not right. I had a bit of a breakdown and I was like, I need help. And she took me to the doctor, and I went to the doctor and I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety. And in that moment, I remember feeling some emotion. So I remember feeling like this sense of relief, like, oh wow, now I know why I felt the way I felt my whole life. And there was a sense of freedom to it, but there was also a sense of fear and shame. I was like, okay, oh no, am I going to be defined by this now? Am I going to ever get better? Is it only going to deteriorate to the point where I'm non-functional? And I had all this fear attached to it. So when I left the doctor's office, I went on antidepressant medication. I went to a counselor a few times, and I started to stabilize myself, my feelings, my emotions, and my anxiety. And I went on to open up my restaurant. I was successful, and I kind of have learned to manage this anxiety through a lot of different practices. When I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety, I had a choice in that moment. I could give in to the fear and the shame and not talk about it, or I could, I guess, be fearless in opening up to others about how I was truly feeling. And because of who I am, I went the second route and I opened up to people. And when I opened up to them about my mental illness, there was 4 distinct reactions that I received that still remain with me today. And the first reaction I got was surprise. So a lot of people would say, Jim, I've known you for 10 years and I would have never thought you would have had a mental illness. And this stood out to me at that moment because A, it showed that I wasn't being authentic to the people around me and I wasn't actually truly allowing them to know how I was feeling. But it also showed that the way we perceive mental illness is only extreme cases, that somebody that is functioning, social, and seems to be happy on the outside can't suffer from any mental illness and can't show that vulnerability. And as soon as I got that reaction, I realized how damaging that view of mental illness could be, and I wanted to change that moving forward. The second reaction I got was thankfulness. So some people would pull me aside and say, hey Jim, thanks a lot for talking about your mental illness. I know exactly what you're going through and I feel the exact same way. But they would always do it in a way that was secretive. So they'd message me on Facebook. They would pull me aside at a party and not say it in front of the group, but they would say it to me. In that moment, I realized how many people are affected by mental illness and that it's not just me and it's not just a small group, because there was so many people that could connect with what I was saying. But it also showed me how important it is for others to speak up and show courage in talking to people about it, because it offers support to others just in a simple conversation. The third reaction I got was resistance. So some people would say, Jim, I know people with real diseases and you're just playing a victim, or you're just looking for attention. And in that moment, I was not looking for any attention. The anxiety attention is not what's cool on the streets. I was just looking to open up to people and be honest. And I guess I was okay with that resistance because I was in a place where I could take it and I could navigate my way through it. But I felt in that moment that a lot of people would be opening up to others for the first time and receive that resistance, and they would shut down and move to isolation, which could be so damaging for actual treatment of the anxiety. And so when I realized that and how damaging that could be, I felt like it was important to talk to others about it and be a leader in changing that, to support those who need to open up and not isolate themselves. And the fourth reaction I got was dismissal. So some people would say, oh, Jim, life's too short to worry all the time. Or, you know, you just need to find happiness, or you just need to not stress out about little things. And I was like, well, thanks, tips. But that's exactly what my disease is. I can't just say, I'm not gonna worry about that, because I have the worry disease. And I felt like that reaction was of dismissal or minimizing how I felt, again, could be damaging if that's what people are getting done to them when they open up to others about it. So with those 4 reactions, I realized very quickly that the way we perceive mental illness, the way we talk about mental illness, and the way we feel about mental illness is incorrect and can be damaging. So I wanted to change that. In 2011, my dad passed away suddenly, and when I was kind of going through the mourning process of his passing, I realized that he actually dealt with mental illness and depression his whole life and never talked about it. So he felt these feelings, and in his generation, it was more important for him to hide how he felt, to look strong to his peers, and that was more important than actually how he felt in living with sadness. And in honor of him, and with my own experience of dealing with these reactions when I opened up to people about it, I wanted to make a difference. So I started to Understand Us. And that's actually, those moments is what has motivated me to start the program and start the foundation and keep it going to this day.